McGinnis from Our Sport Videos. This edition of In Focus is being brought to you from the Boardwalk in historic Halifax, Nova Scotia, overlooking the Halifax Harbour. For those of you that don't know, the Halifax Harbour was the scene of the huge Halifax explosion. Back December 6, 1917, the SS Mont Blanc, a French cargo ship fully laden with explosives at wartime, accidentally collided with the Norwegian vessel, the SS Imo. At the time, it was considered to be the largest man-made explosion in the world. Now, that's our history lesson for today. On with the show. Up first, as always, we're going to show you our feature photo, supplied once again by Visnia. This pic is from Arm Wars Legacy, which took place in 2010 at the Trafford Centre in Manchester, England. It features Neil Pickup of England and Artur Glowinski from Poland. Great pic, I think. We're always looking for the next feature photo, so if you have one, send it along to us at scottmcginnis@hfx.eastlink.ca. Absolutely a phenomenal picture. Thanks again to Visnia for sending that picture to us. Okay, up next on the program is our monthly look at the latest rankings. So let's have a look at both the worldofarmwrestling.com and the inthehook.com rankings. Take a look. Okay, that's our monthly look at the rankings. I hope you noticed that on inthehook.com there are now U.S. women's rankings. Josh Handeland has put together a women's ranking for the first time. Now, I recently talked with Josh about his involvement with the rankings, women's rankings. Well, let's let Josh talk for himself. Have a listen to this. Joining me now on the line from Minnesota is Josh Handeland. Josh handles ranking duties for In the Hook for the U.S. rankings, and I'm quite sure probably has a lot of influence with Chris Gobby on the North American rankings. Josh, thanks for joining us on the program. How are you doing today?
I'm good.
Great. Give me a little bit of background about yourself, and how did you get involved in arm wrestling in the first place?
Oh, well, I started arm wrestling in 2008. I found out arm wrestling was a sport at the end of 2006. I was arm wrestling a lot of my friends in high school and started beating a lot of them. And at first I couldn't find any pullers in my area to train with, and I couldn't really find any tournaments close by me. But eventually I found about a tournament in Iowa that I went to in 2008 and hooked up with one Minnesota arm wrestler there and started training with him. I've just been at it ever since, training consistently and competing regularly.
And I might add, after watching it a little bit, getting better and better all the time.
Yep, trying.
Great. Yeah, that's all we can do. Okay, so tell me, how did you first get involved with doing the rankings along with Eric Racine at the time and In the Hook? How did you get involved in that?
Well, I actually had my own website, MinnesotaArmWrestling.com, and I was doing my own rankings for the United States on there, and they were pretty similar to Eric's. And let's see, it was probably May or June last year, 2011, he sent me a message on the Northeast board and said he was looking for someone to take over the USA rankings for In the Hook and wondered if I wanted to do it. And at first I wasn't sure if I wanted to or not because I knew a lot of people in the U.S. like to complain they don't agree on the rankings. But after a couple of days, I decided, I'll give it a shot, I guess.
So what exactly happened then? So Eric just concentrated on the Canadian rankings, and you concentrated on the U.S. rankings. Is that how this first started with your partnership with him?
Yeah, that's how it worked. And Eric kept maintaining the North America overall rankings, so he would combine the U.S. and Canadian rankings to create the North American part. And then when Chris Grobby took over, I actually didn't really know he was taking over until Eric posted that thread saying that he was giving up the Canadian rankings too.
Okay, so when compiling the North American rankings now, do you and Chris talk together on the phone, or does Chris handle them, or do you handle them? How does that work?
When he sends me his updates, and then I do my updates, I kind of just change the North American rankings so that it coincides with USA and Canada updates. But I told him if he has any disagreements with where I put anybody, then we can discuss it. And so far, we haven't had any issues. So.
Okay, Josh, and speaking of issues, I just finished watching your interview with Gary Roberts on RMTV, and it appears that Vosgin has some issues with the rankings.
Yeah, he thinks he should be ranked above Corey Miller and everybody else because, in his opinion, since he's been competing more at 154 pounds in the last year or so than Corey has, and he's been winning the top tournaments in the USA, like the Arnolds and the UAL, that he should be ranked above Corey. In his opinion, the rankings should be based not on who beats who as much as what tournaments you win. So if he wins like the Arnold and Corey doesn't win any big tournaments that year, he thinks he should be ranked higher.
Okay, but if following that logic, if Vosgin wins all the so-called big tournaments and Corey beats Vosgin in some small local tournament, that's not supposed to count.
That's what Vosgin would think, I suppose.
That doesn't make any sense to me. And you said to Gary that the last time they pulled, Corey actually beat Vosgin.
Correct.
Okay, so and I mean, these rankings are basically your opinion, as scientific as you can probably make them. But in your opinion, Corey Miller right now would beat Vosgin. Is that correct?
I believe he would. Yes.
Okay, so now as a result of what happened at the Arnolds, what does that do to Jeff Hale?
That will move him into the second place spot where Vosgin was, since he beat Vosgin, and then Vosgin will move to third.
Okay, and is Vosgin still going to make the same argument?
I don't know. We'll have to see.
It's just interesting that Vosgin makes that argument, and then he ends up losing to Jeff Hale. So Jeff Hale stands to jump a whole bunch. I mean, you have him ranked right now in North America. He's ranked number 8. Will that move him up to number 2 in North America?
Yep.
Okay. Cool. So now, I would suspect that you may have a harder time compiling your rankings than Chris Grobby does, just because of the amount of tournaments happening in the U.S. Is that true?
Well, I'm not really sure because I don't do the Canadian rankings, so I don't know how much easier or harder it is. But I actually know all the USA guys a lot more than the Canadian guys, so it's not too hard for me. I'm always trying to read all the results because I'm personally curious to who won the tournaments that go on. So, and since now that I already have the list, the top 10 created, it's not too hard to maintain it when people beat a ranked guy or whatever.
Okay, and I asked Chris Grobby this question. I want to ask you the same thing. So, how much does video aid you in doing your rankings?
It helps a lot because you got to see, if two guys got in a really, really long match, and then say the third guy got a bye, and then he beats the winner of that match, it can be a significant factor. Okay,
and so did I hear correctly? Are you the one compiling the North American rankings, or do you and Chris do that together?
When he sends me his updates, I changed the North America rankings to coincide with his update. So if he moves, Polar A above Polar B, I move Polar A above Polar B in the North America rankings just to make it the same. But so I change it before I send it in. But I told him if he has any disagreements with who I have ranked where to let me know and we'll discuss it. So we discuss it, and right now we agree on things. So we do it together basically.
Okay, and I know that when Chris did the first updated rankings that he put out there after Eric stepped aside, he took a fair amount of grief. Do you take a fair amount of grief for posting your rankings?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Well, you must be getting pretty thick-skinned by now, then, are you?
Yeah, but I'm also getting a lot of support too. People complain, and other people have been posting lately, though, saying, I do good with the rankings, and so that helps me feel good about myself.
Well, it's gotta feel good when I just read recently that a fairly well-known name, Bob Brown, gave you some support in your rankings. That's got to make you feel pretty good.
Yeah, I didn't see that. Was that on the message board or?
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
I actually did read that on the Northeast board that he thought for the most part, although he may not agree with everything that you write down, he thinks you're doing a really good job with the rankings.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah, so there's a little pat on the back for you. Now, the other thing that I want to ask about is inactivity. For example, John Brzenk is out injured right now, so he's still ranked fairly high. When a year has gone by, do you drop John from the rankings?
Yes, I will, and I believe a year will be next month. So.
Yeah, he had I just talked to John the other day, and he had his surgery in May. So the last time he competed was probably April. So he will just drop off the rankings completely?
Yeah, he will. But I'm sure when John's healed and he wants to be back on there, he will move up quickly.
Yeah, and actually, when I interviewed John for this show just a day or two ago, and he answers those questions as well. But even though somebody has been inactive, like how active is someone, for example, like Ron Bath right now? Is he still fairly active?
No, as far as I'm aware, I believe last time he competed was the UAL in April last year. And I think he might be competing later this month at the Southeast Regionals. So I'll be looking at the results and seeing if he, keeps his spot by staying active or he has to be taken off.
Okay. I was just curious about that because I know there are people who have pros and cons against guys staying on there or guys dropping. Like another one I want to ask you about. I know that officially Carl Stanley has a win over Tom Nelson. So, but you still have Tom Nelson ranked ahead of Carl Stanley.
Yeah. Well, the reason I did that was because actually Tom won the first three matches. In the third match, he won on fouls. I think Carl was moving in the ref script, but the refs called Tom the winner of the match, and so he would have won 3-0, but Tom chose to give Carl another chance. So that was a hard choice. I asked Chris what he thought and a couple other people what they thought I should do, and I decided personally I should keep Tom higher because he would have won the super match if he hadn't been really a nice guy and given Carl another chance, and Chris agreed with that too, and actually Carl agreed with that too. So I was glad to see that when I posted the rankings, Carl agreed with me because I was afraid that I knew no matter what I did, there'd probably be some complaining on that one.
I think no matter what decision you make on any rankings, somebody's going to complain for the most part.
Yeah.
But now also just this past Arnold's, Don Underwood, another huge win for him, winning the tournament. Now, does that move Don up in the rankings now, or is he pretty well going to stay where he is?
Yeah, he'll stay where he is for now. He didn't beat any of the guys that are ranked above him, so. Okay. He needs to beat them, Same as Vazgen needs to beat Corey. Don has to beat the guys ranked above him, and hopefully we'll get to see him go against some of those guys this year,
Yeah, for sure. So when is your next update is due when?
I'll try and take the rankings in a week or two. I
Okay,
know,
you'll have to speak. Hang on, you have to speak. You were just muffled there for a second. You'll have to speak right into the phone clearly.
I'm sorry, what was that?
You were muffled really bad.
Okay.
I don't know if you moved the phone away from your mouth, but.
I'll
So
update the rankings within the next week or two. I know that a couple of the women have been wanting me to have women's rankings too, so I told them that I would have the women's rankings ready at my next update, so I gotta do a little bit more research on that so I can have the women's rankings ready when I update the men's. And it'll probably be a week or two.
Okay, no offense to the women, but that's going to be a tough job for you.
Yeah, it will be.
Because I mean, there's some that consistently out there pulling, but there's some that just aren't that consistent. So, are you going to try and do a top 10, or are you just going to like do top 5 or something?
Yeah, I'm gonna try a top 10, 143 and under, and then 144 and up. And
Okay.
I've been actually planning on doing women's rankings for probably at least 6 months or so now. So I kind of started to get an idea already. But it's hard to find women who are, active that often. So.
Well, yeah, I mean, and here we're at the Arnolds now. There was 2 women's classes, and now it was back to 1 women's class. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, so there wasn't even 2 classes offered for them. So yeah, it's going to be you're going to have your job cut out for you, I think, and that's going to be a tough one.
Yep.
Yeah, outstanding. Well, listen, Josh, that's all I have for you for right now. I appreciate you taking a few minutes of time to speak with us here on In Focus.
No problem. And I enjoy watching the show.
Great, and well, you can look for another one out in the next couple of weeks.
Sweet.
Okay, thanks for joining us, Josh, and all the best with your rankings.
Yep, you too.
Okay, thanks very much. Good night now.
Good night.
Okay, we're back. Thanks to Josh for taking a few minutes to talk to us. Wonder if Chris Garvey's thinking about putting together a women's rankings for the Canadian women. Only time will tell. And now it's time for our first break. We'll be right back after these few words from our sponsors. And we're back, thanks to our sponsors. Without them, the show would not be possible. Now, throughout my years of involvement in arm wrestling, I've had the honor and privilege of meeting some of the biggest names in our sport. Well, my next guest can be considered as one of the absolute best. He is none other than the legend himself, John Brzenk. I recently caught up with John and got a chance to talk with him regarding his recent surgery and what the future holds for this arm wrestling superstar. Let's have a listen to that conversation. All right. On the line with me now is arm wrestling legend, John Brzenk. John, thanks for joining us on the program today.
No problem, Scott.
Okay, for those that don't really know, why don't you tell us a little bit about your shoulder surgery and the injury that came along and what caused you to get surgery on your shoulder?
Well, I've had shoulder issues now for probably the last, 3-4 years that has been kind of off and on. Very uncomfortable, painful after a hard tournament. It stems from a long time ago. I ended up throwing a softball almost 20 years ago, and I heard something rip on my shoulder, and as it turned out, it was the labrum. But until just recently, I decided to actually have a doctor look at it, and they did an MRI and decided to have it scoped, and it was pretty much a 360-degree labrum tear that he had to secure down. It was May 7th, and I'm doing better.
Okay, so the recovery is going pretty good right now?
I'm feeling almost as good as I did now before I went into surgery, so I'm hoping from here on out it will be, better and stronger than it was before I went into surgery. But yeah, it's been a slow process. There's still a lot of different spots where it catches and it makes noise, and it kind of just completely quits on me. But all in all, just the normal daily activities, I'm doing pretty good, and it's feeling stronger day by day.
Okay, and now for those of us that actually watched the some of the Vendetta and Vegas stuff. Afterwards, you did a little bit of arm wrestling on the table. So how did it hold up for that?
If I'm careful and people don't really blast into me, I've been practicing now for probably the last 2 months, and it's stable in certain areas. I can somewhat top roll my hand, and my forearm are still real good. My back pressure is real good, so I can kind of immobilize guys to the center of the table. But the problem is applying that side pressure. Hooks probably around 70% because it's a lot of side pressure once we're wrist to wrist, and even just finishing somebody once I've got their hand dominated is still painful and still makes some clicking noises on occasion. But yeah, no, it feels good. I mean, the rest of my arm is in really good shape. I've been working the weights and that. So my hand's there, my forearm's there, my lock's there, my elbows, healed up because I didn't do anything for 3 or 4 months. So everything's strong and ready to go as soon as the shoulder cooperates.
And what is the prognosis like? What do you think, and what do the doctors think about how long it's going to take to fully recover?
Well, they said that I could still be in pain up to 18 months. So, like I said, it was May, so what are we looking at, 10, 11 months now? So, yeah, I mean, I kind of gave up on the rehab middle of July. A lot of the stuff they were having me do, I figured I could just do on my own, so I stopped going to the rehab. And to be really honest, I'm not doing the full range of motion stuff that they were having me do, so maybe that will set me back a little bit. But yeah, I've been pushing myself pretty good, especially the last few weeks in the gym. And like I said, I've been arm wrestling now for 2.5, maybe even almost 3 months now. So I think it's just it's going to take time.
Okay. Now, reading stuff on the internet and that it's already pretty well advertised that you're planning on attending the big money tournament in Moscow. Is that true?
I hope to go to Moscow, but the way I feel right now, I just don't think it's going to happen. I keep thinking week to week, month to month that next week it'll heal up a little bit better, and I'll be, I'm close. But to be super honest, I have yet to really feel comfortable, even in practice, setting up square and having somebody say, give us a quick ready go. I would be a little bit afraid of someone hitting on me. So, it's still what are we looking at? March, April, May, June, only 3 months away. The possibilities of me actually really ever going to Moscow will probably be slim to none at this point. I've been asked to maybe participate in a 95 to 100 kilo battleground type tournament in Bulgaria in June. That's tempting too. We'll have to see in another month or two how I feel. At least with something like that, at least the guys will be, my size. I won't have the Devins and the Sablenkovs and the monsters to try to deal with. I could at least be somewhat respectable.
Well, yeah, you wouldn't have those monsters pounding on your arm like you have the past few years.
Yeah, and I'm like I said, I'm just still real. I need to hit a couple small tournaments just to build my confidence that I'm going to hold up on a ready go situation, and then we'll go from there.
Okay, and I don't remember if it was you mentioning it or somebody else mentioned it too. So, and the plan is also to attend the Nemiroff Cup in the fall as well. Is that correct?
Well, that's a few months more out there, so I'm definitely hoping to be ready to pull that. I mean, realistically, I would go and just hope to be competitive. I really have no thought of being able to get my title back or to win the thing. I would just be really happy if I was in good enough shape to know that I could possibly win. Well, here again, I don't know. I've been working out with Todd Hutchins now for the last couple of years, so he was planning on going this year. And if he does go, I will probably stay out of the 95 kilo class and just keep my weight up as much as I can and just pull the open class. But I just need to be ready to, confident that I can be competitive, and then I'll be there. But it's probably not going to be till the following year where I really have ambitions to go and try to get the Zloty title back.
Okay. Well, look, at this point in your career, you've done everything, you've won everything. What motivates you to put in the time and come back again?
Well, I still just enjoy the sport. I mean, everybody, all my friends are arm wrestlers, and if I don't arm wrestle, I'm going to get really fat and out of shape. So I got to stay involved in the sport somewhat, and why not? If I'm going to do it, I'm going to try to do to the fullest of my capability, and do it 100%. So. Yeah, I mean, I really don't have any, like I said, anything really on the chart to accomplish or prove. Just continue doing it and doing it as best as I can, or my body will allow.
Okay. And now, again, for those of us that I did watch the Vendetta in Vegas, and you were commentating. Was it hard for you to sit in the background and just watch, knowing you couldn't compete, or you didn't mind letting those guys have their time in the spotlight?
Yeah, no, I wasn't in any mood or chomping at the bit to jump up there and arm wrestle anybody up there that day. In fact, I don't think there for sure wasn't anybody up there that or thought that I could compete. So yeah, no, I had no problem sitting down and commentating. It was an exciting event. It's a shame they went out there and put a lot of effort into that and put on a huge show, and boy, there wasn't hardly any spectator support, which I know it's tough in arm wrestling, but hopefully they'll just continue to do what they do, and hopefully it will grow.
Well, yeah, I mean, it appeared from the camera angles when they were following some of the arm wrestlers in, that there was nobody in the stands, and watching it online, there wasn't that many people watching it online either.
Yeah, huge production, huge, the cameras and the TV monitors, and I don't know how many seats they had, maybe 2,000 seats in this pavilion, and the place was just, virtually empty. So yeah, it was a shame, but I don't know. It's a good practice for them, I guess, for hopefully future events.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the last I had heard, they are planning to do another one in Vegas in June or something. Is that right?
That's from what I understand. They were planning on doing maybe something at the end of June.
Okay, yeah. And so then, that brings me to the rankings, and Devin is still up on top, and Dennis second. And Michael Todd is way up there at third place right now. What did you think of his performance against Andre Pushkar?
He pulled perfect, perfect technique. I mean, I've known for a while now that Andre has trouble in the straps, and Michael was able to get outside a little bit on his hand, and the endurance thing and the heart just took over, and he was able to win that first one, which was real important to stop the match. And from there on, it was all Michael Todd. He really didn't have any problem from that point on.
No, not at all.
Just kept doing what was working, and Andre didn't change up at all. He just kept doing the one thing he knew was hard to the side, and it just didn't work out for him.
Yeah, isn't that the truth? So then maybe I guess then maybe we'll see you on the table at a small tournament or two, maybe later in the year. Is that the plan right now?
Yeah, like I said, I'm thinking about participating in a battleground in Bulgaria in June. April, May. I keep counting the months away. It's 2-3 months away. If I can feel like I'm going to be competitive, I might decide to participate, and that will probably be my first event to get into. I was thinking maybe going to Florence, Oregon, in the middle of April, but we'll see. It always seems like it's a distance away, and I think, okay, I'll feel a little bit better, and then all of a sudden, boom, it's there again. It sneaks up on me real quick, and I'm like, I really haven't changed. My status hasn't changed at all. So I'm hopeful that I could possibly pull in a couple of months, but like I said, it's just been really slow going. I almost feel the same as I did last month or 2 months ago as I do right now. I mean, there are little tiny changes that I noticed, but for the most part, I'm still kind of weak in certain areas.
Well, and again, if they gave you 18 months and you're not even at quite a year yet, then you still got a few months away, right?
Yeah, I think I'm hopeful that even with my age and the wear and tear, I'm really hopeful that I can come back stronger than I've been in a really long time, because I've arm wrestled so long with this condition, with this torn labrum, that I just think and hope that when it does finally heal up, it's going to be a new beginning. So we'll see.
Well, geez, look, all the best to you, and I hope it turns out the way you want it to, and I hope you get back on the table and do what it is that you obviously love to do. That's the main thing, I think.
Yeah, no, and I have been doing that. I mean, the best part about arm wrestling is the camaraderie and the friends and the practices, and I've been able to at least continue to enjoy that. So if nothing else, I'm enjoying that part of the sport.
Well, great. Listen, John, I appreciate you taking a few minutes of your time to speak with us.
All right, Scott.
All right, and all the best to you, and hope that shoulder heals up for you.
All right, take care, man.
Great, thanks, John.
All right, bye.
All right, bye now.
One big thanks to John Brzenk for taking the time to talk with us and keep us updated on his progress. Also, just posted on the internet, www.pulltv.net. Eric Wolf and the Arizona Arm Wrestling crew hosted John for some practice on the arm wrestling table. Just check out those videos. You can check them out right here again at www.pulltv.net. As we continue on down our walk down the Harborfront Boardwalk, now we get a chance to get a great view of Halifax's Old Town Clock, which has been keeping time in downtown Halifax since 1803. Earlier this month, the annual Arnold Classic Arm Wrestling Challenge took place in Columbus, Ohio. Now, personally, I think that every arm wrestler should attend the Arnold Classic at least once during their arm wrestling career. It's a huge venue, big stage, and thousands upon thousands of spectators in attendance. It was Ian the Grippler Carnegie's very first trip to the Arnold. Let's take a look at the Arnold Classic through Ian's eyes.
Jeff, listen up, guys. We're running the weight classes. 54. Can't wait.
Ready to do this, Dan?
I'm so pumped up. I'm nervous and shit. Good number. It's good. There's a lot of good guys here.
So,
amazing.
Name and location.
Very South Ontario.
So you're Dan Belfi from?
Oh yeah. Dan Belfi from Very South Ontario.
And you're here to win what category?
76.
And where are you right now?
I weigh about 168.
And where are you located? Where are you competing today?
The Arnold Classics here in Columbus, Ohio. Very, very excited. Oh yeah, camera time, baby. Rock.
The Ottawa High Hookers camera.
It is, brother.
That the Ottawa High Hookers. Today you are going to witness.
Super slow-mo. What's up, Canada?
Nice, brother.
Oh, how's that feel? Look at that range of motion. That came right back on there, buddy. So we broke some adhesions up there. That's better than you had. So that's the kind of stuff.
Arm wrestlers fare very well in this event. Very good. And begin. For the folks at home, he did some arm wrestling already today. So,
Get the gripper.
I don't think Mr. Spectacular. Who is Mr. Spectacular?
I don't know. He hasn't shown up.
I don't know. I haven't seen Mr. Spectacular anywhere. Oh my goodness!
How long do you have to hold it?
Keep working, keep working. He's at 27 seconds.
All right, thank you. I'll get here. Nice to meet you. Little Italian.
See, his is La Rosa. You got that one?
Yeah.
My mother's
And he says that this can heal it. That was a very, very classy opening. You had the arm wrestling. Thank you.
That elbow's in his black face.
My name is Norm Debbio. I'm from Hopkinton, Massachusetts, and I'm here at the Arnold, as you can see.
Now, Norm, how many years have you been competing?
I started in 1975 with my first match, and that was around 37 years now. So I started late in life, but I'm hanging in there late in life.
Are you still enjoying it like you did all them years ago?
You know, absolutely. If I wasn't enjoying it, I wouldn't continue to arm wrestle because I'm not winning like I used to. And most people might say, well, when you start losing, it doesn't, mean you have any fun anymore. But I'm still enjoying it, so I'm going to stay in there as long as I'm enjoying it.
Now, I'm filming this for Scott McInnes of Barn Sport Video.
Okay.
Now, you competed at one of Scott's events, though, eh?
I did. My wife and I traveled up to Nova Scotia. Scott was giving out $1,000 for first place, and I managed to take first against some real incredible, athletes from Canada.
That's great to hear, Norm. And I'm sure from Scott and everybody else that's watching this in Canada and the rest of North America, we wish you all the best, and we hope to see you for another 30 years arm wrestling.
That would be awesome. I'm looking forward to it myself. I don't know if it'll be 30 years, but I'd like to put in a few more anyway.
Thank you, Margie. So where are we today?
Actually, we're at the Arnold Classic in Columbus, Ohio today.
Awesome. The reason I've come to see you and just give you a short interview is I was up in Canada when you arrived at Mark Zalepa's 8-woman round robin, where I believe you placed second. Is that correct? Or
I did right-handed and then third left-handed.
Yeah, I happen to be pretty good buddies with Mark Zalepa. So could you tell me how you enjoyed that, and would you consider going back?
Oh, you bet I would. One, Canada was a great venue to hold that tournament, and two, Mark Zalepa has created a great opportunity for female arm wrestling to be recognized, and it was such a fun time. That was the second year in a row that I attended the event in Canada, and that was such a fun event, and it certainly wouldn't have happened without Mark.
That's great. Thank you very much.
A great match here on two. Over on your right. Rostov from Poland on your table one. I need Quinlan and Bill Ballinger, table one, please. Quinlan, Bill Ballinger, table one. Martin from Slovakia, your winner. One, Brad Spine, Vasquez Segoyan. Give both those guys a hand. Cobra first place. Paul could almost taste it in second. Let's hear it for those guys, first and second place.
Cobra. Yeah! This is Ian the Grippler Carnegie from Columbus, Ohio, at the finale of the Arnold Classic Championships. Signing off for Arm Sport Video's next episode of In Focus. Grip up and pull hard.
Big thanks to Ian the Grippler Carnegie for giving us a look at the 2012 Arnold Classic. I've been to the Arnold numerous times and have enjoyed it each time I've been there. Definitely a great experience for every arm wrestler if they can make it. And now it's time for another break, and we'll be right back after this. Welcome back to In Focus. We're now standing in front of the CSS Acadia, which patrolled Canada's east coast and charted almost the entire eastern coastline, as well as Hudson Bay from 1913 to 1969. She is the only ship still afloat that served the Royal Canadian Navy in both World War I and World War II. Today she is a museum ship, a National Historic Site, and is moored here at the Maritime Museum of the Atlantic. And that brings us to our next segment of the program. The boys from InTheHook.com and the Ottawa High Hookers have provided us with yet another clip. And of course, once again, this video may contain language that could be offensive to some viewers. It is intended for a mature audience only. You've been warned. And now, let's see Devin's new moves.
You can do the can opener. Swear to God, just check it out. Get it.
All right, let's check this out.
So the cantilever starts from a hook. You gotta get the guy, you gotta give me a little bit more, Devin. Yes, I need a little bit more power there. Yeah, just give me a bit more. Oh, you good? Okay. So the cantilever starts from a hook. This guy, from there. This guy tear right into it. It's nothing. It's easy if you do the right move. You're right. You all right? What are you sweating for, man?
Show me that can opener move that you killed Devin with last.
That move's wicked. I'm telling you, you'll bust anybody open with a can opener, especially Devin. He can't defend it. He doesn't know what to do. So check this out.
All right.
First, you get the match started, then you just like, can opener! Just like that. That's all it is. Don't forget the main part.
Oh, it's easy.
Yeah.
All right.
Not your head. Yeah, really. Just
can opener!
Oh, you'll rip Devin a new asshole with that move. I guarantee. He can't
When's he coming?
He's supposed to be here tonight.
I'm gonna kill him.
That might be him now.
Who the heck's that?
That might be him. No, that's not him. I think that looks like Christian Vinny. It's a champ.
Not Christian Vinny, I'm back, guys. Hey, what's going on? How's it going? Long time. All right. Nice. Yeah, check it out. Fucking high hookers, we travel in style now.
Oh,
check
that's
it out.
wicked.
Big silk. Hey.
That is wicked.
Yeah.
Marcus.
I've been training hard.
Marcus, get over there and try that new move on.
Oh, all right.
Oh, yeah, well, I got some new moves, too, you're gonna see.
Yeah, but this one.
Yeah, well, check this out, yeah.
Get over there!
What's that garbage? That's bullshit.
Yeah, fuck, off my table.
Cam, get in there. Marcus, you must not have done it right. Cam, straighten him up.
Outside, right outside.
Can open, don't forget. Can open that shit.
Check this out.
Just flop wrist.
Check this out.
No respect for that.
Oh, yeah.
Can open. That's bullshit. Cam, get out of here. Get out of here. This is bullshit. There's no way that flop wristed jump is going to work. That's not even a move in arm wrestling.
Yeah.
Bullshit.
All right, watch this. Do whatever you want.
Get opener!
Oh, I think it's working. Yeah. Hey, I got a lot of new moves, man. Listen, I gotta tell you something, okay? Arm wrestling's about having a lot of different moves. Oh, top rope, you gotta have it all, okay? I got a lot of moves.
That's not a move.
Hey, you want to see a move? Get the fuck out of the way. Get out of the way. This is a fucking move. This is my finishing move. Yeah! Yeah! Woo-hoo-hoo! Yeah! Yeah! That's how it goes.
That's great stuff, isn't it? As always, the guys have done another bang-up job and given us another amazing video. Thanks, guys. I can't wait to see what you have for us next month. All right, then. Now, based in Florida, Todd King and the Soul Collectors Arm Wrestling team have been having a lot of fun hosting several small tournaments in Florida. Well, they're starting to get noticed, and if all goes right, maybe even a TV series could be in the future. But I'll let Todd tell you about that himself. Have a listen to my conversation with Todd King. On the phone with me now is Todd King from the Soul Collectors Arm Wrestling team in Florida. Todd, thanks for joining us on the program. How are you doing tonight?
Oh, real good, man. Thank you for having me.
Hey, no problem at all. Okay, first, why don't you give me a little bit of background information on how the Soul Collectors got started involved in arm wrestling?
Well, we was all arm wrestling on barrels and picnic tables and all that, and we just decided to, to start practicing and training ourselves, and started doing a lot of research online, and we found different ways of using technique and found tournaments that was in our area, so we just advanced from there.
Cool. So where was the first organized arm wrestling event that you guys went to?
First one we went to was Battle of the Beach in Destin, Florida. A lot of us, that was our rookie experience there. Pretty good little, about a 9-hour drive up there. Pretty good little event.
Cool. So where exactly are you guys located in Florida?
Well, most of us are right here in Winter Haven, Florida, which, I'd like to call it Central Florida. We're right here in the middle of Florida. So it takes us about 5-6 hours just to get out of the state.
Okay, that's not too bad. Okay. So my main reason for calling, of course, is the post you made on the Northeast board that the soul collectors, after some, what you say is after some hard work and a lot of promotion, that you may have a TV deal in the works.
We are working hard on it right now. We have Extreme Power TV is going to film my events, and they have a direct line to Fox Sport Network. And if we can get enough people to show up and put up a really good show, it's just like a pilot on a regular television network. If we come in there and we do a good job, then it becomes a regular series on TV, a 13-episode series once a year.
That's very, very cool. So right now, I guess you're probably just trying to drum up business, get the word out, and get as many people down to your event as you can.
Yes. I've had a lot of phone calls and a lot of inquiries about it, and I'm trying to get as many pullers as possible. I'm not just trying to get the state of Florida, but I'd like for everybody that's watching TV to be able to see, all the different characters and what we can provide for this sport, the different personalities that we have.
Okay, and so what I'd like to know now is, so Extreme Power is going to come in and film it. Are they just going to film the tournament as it happens, or are they going to stage it? And when I say stage it, I don't mean like determine outcomes. I mean, are they going to frame it and everything's going to go on a TV schedule, or are you just going to run the event as you normally do, and they're just going to film it?
That's about the way they're going to do it. They're going to film the normal event. They'll get with me after the fact with the brackets and the names of everyone and their history. And what they'll do is they'll edit it for TV with a dub over where you have commentation to it, to where their host is going to commentate it along with myself or whoever else decides that wants to do the commentation. But they'll have a complete reference to who the pullers are, what classes they are. It'll all come through a normal event taping.
Very cool. Okay, so just forgive my ignorance, because I've never dealt with any of this before. So do you actually have a contract with Extreme Power or Fox Sports or whoever is doing this? Do you have an actual contract with them, or is this more of a we want to try this, and if it goes over good, we're going to extend it?
Right now, the original contract is with the Soul Collectors and the Guts and Glory for 13 episodes with Extreme Power TV. Either way, the contract's with them, but they have the contract with Fox Sport Net. So we provide them with the footage, and then it goes to Fox Sport Net.
Well, that's kind of cool that you have a contract for 13 episodes. Now, when it comes to the editing, are they going to edit it, or are you going to be in the editing room trying to work with them, or what's going to happen there?
They're going to do the editing, but they're going to get with me on who, the characters that's on there, the names, the history. I'll actually be doing like a little voiceover with it and describing who they are, where they come from, what they have accomplished in the sport. I mean, the whole thing will have a voiceover on the event that's happening and who they are.
Boy, that sounds pretty awesome. It sounds exactly where it is people want to see arm wrestling go in the first place.
Right. That's been my goal for a while now.
So how did you guys get hooked up with these guys?
Extreme Power TV has been, they have a show on Fox right now for powerlifting. And what they've been doing with AAA is they've been, at the end of each powerlifting show, or a couple powerlifting shows here and there, they'll actually air about 30 seconds worth of arm wrestling on it. So it's kind of like arm wrestling's been piggybacking on the back of those powerlifting shows. And then I just approached the Dave, who is the TV producer, and I approached him and I said, I'd like us to have a full show instead of being on the back of the powerlifting. I'd like to be able to see what we can do. And we went back and forth for a couple of events here and there, and he's been trying to get me to go to, do the show with him since about July of last year. And we just finally connected, and, we got a plan together now.
Sweet. Okay, so when is the first event that's going to be filmed for this show?
June 23rd will kick off my events. Del Vicos and the Guts and Glory has already filmed one event, but mine will kick off on June 23rd. It will be at the Saltwater Grill in Winter Haven, Florida.
Outstanding. Now, do you have anything special in mind for this, or are you just going to run just your normal weight classes?
Actually, I have kind of switched it up really to just simplify the classes so that, when it does hit television, there's not, 100 different weight classes. I've eliminated a lot of them. I've got light, middle, and heavy, which is a 175, a 215, and a 215 plus.
Okay.
And in the women's class, we have a light and a heavy, and then we'll also be featuring a novice classes and kids classes that same day.
Okay. So you've broken it down to the 3 weight classes. What has the response been for the 3 weight classes? And the reason I ask this is because, as you know yourself, it's an age-old debate as to what classes arm wrestling should be running. How's the response been for the 3 weight classes you've defined?
The responses have been excellent. Actually, I started on a little thing on the Northeast board, a message board that we post on there, and kind of asked, different pullers' opinions, and it kind of seemed that everybody gave the same opinion, kind of close in the same area. So I just went with the one that sounded the best, the 175, the 215, and 215 plus, and so far the response has been fantastic.
Wow. Good for you. Are you expecting any big names to come down to your first event?
So far, I know Don Underwood and his crew from Missouri are coming, and he's got a pretty big crew up there. And also Jesse Gillian from Alabama, and we have Stump Burton from Georgia, his crew up there. All the the big guys from Florida will be there. Chris Jostin has expressed some, that he wants to come, and he's up there in South Dakota. So I got a lot of people that right now it's kind of a 50-50. We'll find out for sure as it gets closer who can actually make it or not. A lot of people are working on it right now.
Great. Well, listen, I appreciate you taking a few minutes of your time to talk to us, and best of luck with your event.
Thank you.
Okay, Todd, all the best. Take care.
All right, that's great. Many thanks to Todd King for talking with us, and we'll just have to wait and see what the future holds for the Soul Collectors out of Florida. Best of luck to them. Time now for the final break of the show. Have a listen to these few words from our sponsors. And we're back. Welcome back to In Focus. Now we're closing in on the end of March, and that can only mean one thing: the Mike Gould Classic. That's right, it's time once again for Canada's most prestigious pro arm wrestling event. And I got a chance to talk with Mike about his upcoming tournament. Check that out.
On the line with me now is longtime arm wrestler, Canadian arm wrestling champion, world arm wrestling champion, and doing a lot more on the promotion side now, the one and only Mike Gould. Mike, how are you today? And thanks for joining us on the program.
Great. Thanks, Scott. My pleasure.
No problem. First, let's talk about every year coming up at the end of March, you host the Mike Gould Classic. Tell me a little bit about how this tournament actually started.
Oh, boy. It just, you know what, I was running a tournament, I think it was the Centrals or something previous to that, and it just turned into more of a pro event as time went on, and, and then we just tried to make it a pro-am and offer something for everyone, and it really has just evolved into where it's at. It sort of runs itself now.
It's turned into probably the premier pro-am event in Canada that's held annually, which is a pretty big feat in itself. And you've been extraordinary in bringing some of the top names in arm wrestling. Yourself is pulled, Devin Lorette is pulled, Earl Wilson, John Brzenk, Travis Bajent, Ron Bath, Marcio Bobosa. How do you explain this, the phenomenal list of names that you get to show up?
Yeah, you know what? It's really unique, and I'm very fortunate. But I think what it is over the years, you know, you invite a few guys out, and I think the big names draw the big names, you know. 2 years ago we had an exceptional tournament. It's probably the best ever, and but we had Gary Goodridge coming back, and Devin was pulling, and that interested John Brzenk, and of course, you know, you throw him in the mix, and Travis is coming up, and it just worked out, you know. It just sort of, it's just fortunate the way it unfolded, really.
So when you started, when this evolved from the Central Ontario Championships, did you ever expect that it would become this huge event that's more from a one-day event all day into a two-day event? Did you ever expect that?
Actually, no. It really wasn't my intentions. I didn't have a bigger picture or a plan. I just, each year we try to add a little bit or do something, and it's just really evolved into where it's at today. It kind of runs itself, but on the same hand, it's a lot of work. I always try and do a little bit to it, and of course my work, my personal work is, we're always pretty busy, and so this time of year gets pretty hectic I'm not the greatest guy with the computer and all that, so and trying to promote and get stuff organized for it, it's definitely a stressful time.
So I also hear that in today's economy that promoters are having a harder and harder time all the time raising funds, getting sponsorships. Are you in the same boat? Are you having a rough time with this as well?
Oh yeah, every year. Yeah, I think the majority of people out there know I pretty much take care of this on my own. It would be incredible, and I hear tell of some of the tournaments going on around the world, with the big money and stuff involved. I mean, I couldn't imagine. I run this tournament on a terrible budget. I have basically
a shoestring, right?
Exactly. It's crazy. We we just cover what we can. That's it, really. I mean, basically no sponsors, and I pick up the slack each year. It's not a very good business proposal, but what can you do?
Well, then that's a huge testament to your actual love for the sport of arm wrestling.
Yeah, I guess on that sense for sure. I just really, starting out, I mean, I just enjoy what it is, and, it's great running the tournament, and I don't know, the tournament is, from my era back when I started arm wrestling, the pro-ams and the cash and, trophies for the amateurs, cash for the pros. I mean, that was your traditional tournament, and there's a lot of tournaments now today running great events, but are kind of getting away from that kind of basic style of tournament. And I don't know, I just kind of like it the way it is.
Okay, and speaking of, look, I'm going to put in a shameless plug here. And speaking of Mike Gould and the early tournaments, tune into the early years of Arm Sport videos, 86 through 90. You can see a very young Mike Gould competing with the Port Perry arm wrestling crew.
I've watched some of those videos, and it's really cool to look back and watch. I'll tell you, it's great to have that footage up there now. I remember watching, I think it was Papa Nick's in Milton. And it was a great tournament, and what a fun day. And yeah, that was my early days. And that particular day there, we had a guy. Well, there were so many guys, but I mean, there was a guy I trained with, John Roberts. Many people know him, and boy, oh boy, he had an amazing left hand, and he used to bully me all the time. But that particular day, that was my first win on him, so it was pretty big.
Sweet. Okay. Now back to the Mike Gould Classic. So we have it. Well, I tell everybody I've been lucky enough to go to the past 4 or 5 in a row for sure. And now there's a new venue for this year. Tell us a little bit about the new venue.
Well, things kind of, the owners and stuff at the old one left, and new management, and it kind of, just sort of fell apart a bit on me. But that's fine. I was fortunate enough this year through a friend to be introduced to a bar here in Toronto area, Scarborough, actually. And the bar's called The Loaded Dog, and very exciting for me. They're very enthusiastic. It's a really nice place, excellent food. Staff is really nice and friendly. The owner's great, you know, and they're doing a lot on their end for promoting it. You know, they've made posters. They're advertising. They've been more help this year than I've had in a long time. So it's really nice.
Okay, sweet. So you just started, was it just last year you started with the 2-day event, but that's what you're running again this year, correct?
Exactly, yeah, it was. Last year was my first, and I'll tell you, it's controversial, as is every decision in arm wrestling tournaments. I mean, you know what? Half the people like it, half the people don't. You see, the year before, I think the tournament ended about 1 a.m. And the previous year, it was always getting on 10, 11, 12 at night, 1 in the morning. Obviously, it just got to be too much, and nobody liked that. So now we've decided, you know, I added kids and masters, and we run everything on the Saturday. We'll start off with a kids tournament, followed by masters, followed by amateurs. The second day is the pro men and women's, and it works out well. But yeah, you know, I mean, then you're tied up 2 days. Some people don't like it because of the travel and the, you know, but I think it works better now.
Okay, and so you want to give a plug to who helps you out running the tournament when we're actually there and running it?
Oh, Joe and Becky do so much. They do the scorekeeping, and Joe's been doing the emceeing primarily the last few years, whatever. And, you know, of course, my refs all the time, and for sure In the Hook and Arm Sport videos. I mean, you know, you guys do a fantastic job airing and getting it out. And another thing, just to mention on that note, this year at the new venue, we do have hardwire high-speed internet with TV screens all throughout the bar. So we're going to be able to run this, you know, everywhere. So, but
very cool.
Yeah.
Okay. So anything exciting that you know that's coming up at this year's tournament? Any names that you want to drop that you think are showing up?
Well, there's a couple. You know, in the arm wrestling today, I find we're really, I'm not going to say too many tournaments because I don't know, whatever, you know, I don't know if there's ever too many, but really the arm wrestling world's flooded with tournaments, you know. I mean, between the U.S. and Canada, I mean, you could go anywhere and arm wrestle pretty much any given weekend.
Well, you can, and a lot of weekends, there's 4 or 5 tournaments going on.
And that's the only
weekend.
thing. Sometimes there's, you know, arguably too many at times, but hey, you know, it's okay. But, so, you know, I know timing and everything. I'm not expecting some of the numbers and turnout maybe I've had in previous years, but we've got some good guys coming up for sure. I know I've spoke to a few guys coming up out of Ohio. I've heard Willie Reagan and some guys are coming up. Ryan and Emma's making the trip. Travis Badgent supposed to be here, and he's always great at the tournament. And he's made the trip. I got to say, Travis has made the trip many years. He claims it's easy money here in Canada. We're going to show him different this year.
There you go.
We'll send them home with $5. And but I do have confirmation. Rich Lepkus is coming this year.
Really?
Yeah, he told me in a message here this week that he was coming. We've been back and forth messaging. But I asked him about it again. He said he was pretty sure he was, and then I asked him about it again, and he sent me a reply back just this past week saying that going to be here. So I'm really excited about that. Rich is he's just one of the nicest guys in the sport, and he's a true champion and a legend in
Let's
the
tell
sport.
the truth. You know what? Let's tell the truth. Outside of, I think the joke was outside of me and you. Isn't he the nicest guy you've ever met in arm wrestling?
Exactly, exactly. Aside from me and you, he probably is. Yeah. So no kidding.
To be quite honest with you, I've actually had a couple of messages between myself and Richard as well, and it's outstanding news to hear that he's coming. I personally look forward to seeing Richard at the end of the month. That'd be great.
Well, you know, it's great. It's great for the tournament and for me as a promoter to have a guy, an arm wrestler with his caliber and, you know, as legendary as him in my tournament. But on a personal level, it'll be just great to see him. You know, he's a fantastic guy. So. Yeah,
definitely. So you mentioned Ryan and Emma. So that's Ryan and Emma Clark.
Yes. Yeah, okay. They're coming up. The 220 class this year is going to be really a good time. Oh, and I forgot Mike Bowling's making the trip as well.
Really outstanding. Great.
Yeah, so you throw that 220 class is looking good. As far as I know, we'll have Sylvain. You know, and I know Eric's training hard, and Cade Revelstoke, Mike Bowling. There is rumors possibly Tyrell from Saskatchewan or Alberta.
He is. No, Tyrell is from Saskatchewan, currently Canada's champion in that class.
Yeah, exactly. And then you got Ryan. So, I mean, the 220 class is really shaping up to be a real, like, it's a top caliber class. It'll be fun. Anybody out there with a good 220 arm and they want to see where they sit, it'd certainly be a good place to find out. That's for sure.
Well, you know what? In Canada, you've gotten the reputation of being Canada's elite pro tournament every year. And as I travel around the country, all I hear people say is, "We got to get to the Mike Gould Classic and test ourselves there." And that's really a testament to the work. I know you want to downplay it, but to the work and the phone calls that you've put in. It's an outstanding job, I think.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that, and I don't know. I'll keep doing it as long as I can. That's for sure. So. Looking forward to it, that's, for sure. Last year we had 200 and, don't quote me exact, but the last couple of years has been about 265 entries. So
that's great numbers.
Yeah, now that's counting kids and stuff, but still, it's really a pretty good event.
Yeah, that is. And just to change gears here just for a second, so are you going to compete at the event this year or no? You're going to be busy playing host?
I get torn every year so much. I am dying to arm wrestle in the event. But yeah, most days, most years, I'm pretty busy and, stuff going on. It's really hard to focus on it at all, So a lot of times once everything's in place, I enjoy sitting back and watching the entertainment.
Well, and I also know that you have a little match yourself lined up for a couple of weeks after your tournament in April.
Yeah, it is a little match. It's probably the littlest match I've had in my life. Big bad Tim Brzenk. You know what? There's another man. He one of the best in the world right there, and I think it's no secret to anybody. I mean, Tim's heavily favored, and as should be. I'm trying to train around my work and do a bit, and most people will look at that down the road as just who won and who lost, but to me, success will be measured just a bit different. If I could squeak one win out of it, or if I could tie them up a little bit, or make them work, or have a couple good matches, to me, that's pretty successful. So Tim's, in my books, he's one of the best out there today, and and again, a true gentleman in the sport, and look forward to mixing it up with him. And thanks to Mark Zalepa for running a great event down where he is and giving me the opportunity to have that matchup.
Yeah, that'll actually be sweet. It'll be good to see Timmy as well again, and it'll be good to see you back on the table.
Yeah, it's I enjoy it. What can I say? It's just you know, it's hard to get the training in and do the work for the tournaments and work, and you know, so, but looking forward to it for sure.
That's great. Listen, Mike, I appreciate you taking a few minutes of your time to talk with us.
Oh, it's my pleasure. My pleasure.
And we'll see you at the end of the month, and all the best for your tournament.
Well, thanks for everything to you too, Scott, and Arm Sport Videos. You're running a great show for sure.
And you know I'll never edit out that plug, will I?
All right. Thanks
okay,
again.
Thanks, Mike. Have a great day.
Thanks for everything.
Okay.
That's great stuff right there. Big thanks to Mike Gould. Not only will I be there in attendance filming again this year, but in a joint effort with InTheHook.com, the WAF, and Arm Sport Videos, we'll be bringing you the event live on the internet. You can check that out right here. We have John Milne on the play-by-play, and a surprise or two in store for you. I hope it all works out for us. We're testing out a new program that hopefully will be the answer we've been searching for to try and bring everybody a great live internet feed. And now, it's time to have a look at the upcoming tournament schedule for the month of April. Have a look at that. Okay, now as I said before, I'll be at the Mike Gould Classic, recording all the action and helping out with the live video feed. I hope to see a lot of you there. Then on April 14th, I will be attending the Southern Ontario Championships, hosted by Mark Zalepa, and featuring a super heavyweight clash between Mike Gould and Tim Brzenk. That should be epic as well. Wow, that was a full show. That's all we have time for this month. Thanks to our many contributors and sponsors, without whom this show would not be possible. I'll see you next month on In Focus. I'm Scott McGinnis, and we're out from the Halifax waterfront.